What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today, in the world of indie games, we're going to be playing around with a title that I like very much, a game called Noble Fates. If you've never seen Noble Fates before, Noble Fates is a game that is basically a humorous take on colony survival. This is a game where you've got a colony full of people that are just terrible human beings that have an opinion about everything. You are their king, and your goal is to keep this little blue meter right here as full as possible so they all don't leave you and like betray you and join your enemies. And so today we're taking a look at the game because this game actually received what I think is probably one of the biggest updates that it's ever received. So inside this current patch that we are currently playing, what does this say right here? Clipper unownable because he has a fancy wooden bed. Oh, it's because the okay, I gotta fix that. 1 second. There we go. All right, I'm fixing the thing right now. What was inside this giant thing that they have released? Well, they've added an entire new race. Actually, 3 new races if you wanted to check it out that way. They've added dwarves to the game, which means that this game fundamentally just got 1000% better because dwarves are objectively the best fantasy race, and I will die on this hill right now. I don't care who wants to argue. They are the best. Dwarves are awesome. On top of that, they also added in Skaven. The Skaven live underground, and they added Z levels and the ability to dig underground and make yourself a dwarf hall. So what you can see right now is I'm actually like mining out. I'm planning on moving my entire society underground. We started out here on the surface and actually totally by accident. I didn't mean to. I ended up with a colony that's full of dwarves and a colony that's full of orcs, and we have nothing else. Those are my 2 favorite fantasy races, and it happened completely and totally by accident. I wouldn't have called it out otherwise. I didn't cultivate this at all. It just sort of fell into place. But we're going to be checking out Noble Fates for the next couple, probably like 30 minutes or so. See if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list or otherwise pass on. The developers have a long track record of releasing very good work. And in fact, I had a bug that was inside the game that I couldn't get them to craft anything out of leather. I posted on the forums, and within 6 minutes, they had posted a hotfix. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I'm being legitimately serious with you. So they seem very receptive to the community. They seem to be fixing things and wheeling and dealing and getting stuff done. So if after watching this you wanted to get the early access of this game for yourself, I will have a link for you down below in the description. On top of that, you can also find a link to my Discord where I ping it whenever I go live on Twitch, because I'm also a live streamer. Oh, we've got like a event going on. This is a new guy too that they added to the game with the recent patch. Can I find you a cave? Is he just like here visiting? Oh, wow, we have a lot of visitors right now. That's a ton of visitors. We're kind of going into the winter right now, so it's getting a little bit chilly and a little bit cold. This is probably like 6 hours into the game, maybe 7 hours into the game. I didn't mean to play that much before doing this impressions video. That's one of those cases where we're kind of like approaching the realm of like full review. But I had so much fun that I kind of like lost track of time. Now, what is the ultimate point of this game? In this game, you are a beneficent god that is inside of a crown. At the beginning of the game in the prologue, the main character, your avatar finds the crown in the cave, and anybody that has a crown in this universe basically has a domain, and that's how you start off your castle building, fortress building experience. All these other guys are considered nobles, and the entire mechanic of the game that differentiates it from, well, I guess it doesn't differentiate it that much, because RimWorld kind of has this mechanic with one of its expansions too. But the thing that differentiates it is you're trying to keep all these people happy with you so that they do not leave your faith or they do not leave your kingdom and join up with other kingdoms, leading to massive brain drain and an inability to produce things and stuff like that. Along the way, the game also has a siege mechanic, so this guy right here is a carbuncle. This is the mechanic by which you would convert the game into a wave defense game if that's what you wanted to play. If I break this thing right here, we'll be attacked by multiple waves of demons. You can see a dead demon laying right there. They still attack periodically, but once you click this, it basically turns the game into a defense game for like the next hour. You're going to get heavily attacked by demons, and if you're able to hold them off, a secret society will come in. They will seal the portal for you, and then they will teach your guys magic spells as an exchange for holding off the demonic invasion. The game also has a world map. You can take a look at it right here. It's full of factions. From time to time, these factions are going to offer you quests. You will become friends or enemies with them. As you can see, I'm mostly friends with everybody, but I'm kind of enemies with them. You can answer requests right here in your petitions board. So, for example, Fingertail Hills is being attacked by monsters. These guys are having issues with rebels. Basically, you can act as like hired goons for all these other kingdoms, show up, kill the people that they want you to kill, and then you'll become friends. Rake, what are you upset about right now? Why is everything so terrible? Your temperature is bad and you're freezing? Why are you freezing? Oh, because you're working outdoors. Gotcha. Oh, look at that. He's processing a deer with a mallet. Yep, that's how butchering's done. And that's what I mean by the fact that this game is really leaning into humor. Like, this is a game where it's not uncommon to see two of your villagers standing around talking about how much they like or dislike eating human meat, how much they like or dislike wearing hats that are made out of dwarf. This is one of those games that lets you really lean into debauchery, and if you want to, like, skin your neighbors alive and then convert them all into office chairs, you could totally do that if you want. It may have ramifications and people might be upset with you, but that's just the way she goes. Every single character has needs and things that they want. The other mechanic that you have to play around with is every single character, based on their rank in your society, wants a certain amount of prestige, otherwise they will leave you. And so right now, I'm currently in the process of trying to get everybody the prestige that they want to have so that they will all be consistently happy with me. So that includes building up houses and creating places for them to live inside of, domiciles and whatnot. We've also got traders that will come through from other factions that we are friendly with. So it looks like these guys are paying extra for imp leather or something. I think I've sold off most of my goods over the course of the last couple days. Like, I'm not really producing anything right now. I got some deer leather and whatnot, but we'll probably be producing things later. Let's go ahead and get started on this side. It looks like we've already got some leather gloves and some leather breastplates actually queued up. So that's really good. That's what I was about to do. This game has a full-scale manufacturing system where you can make weapons, swords, bows, armors, and you can make them out of different resources. And based on the crafting skill of the guy that's making the thing, you can end up with magical gear that has Diablo-style affixes on it as well that increase your character's stats just in case they're good at that thing and you want them to be even better at it. So right now I've got like an improvised character doing all my ranged fighting, but if I wanted to make him better, I would be buying out a lot of these items that give +2 to range skill because it makes life easier. With these dead imps over here, they are all tagged for butchering. Good. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of things that I can sell to any of the visitors right now. While visitors are in your town, they will participate in your society. So you can actually rent out beds and create like a tavern, and they will pay you for the privilege of staying inside your place. They will also poop on the floor. That right there is a giant pile of visitor dung that apparently just got dropped on the floor, because why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't you take a dump inside your host's house? Just right there on the floor. Don't go outside or anything. We do need to gather up some materials. So I'm going to go ahead and select some trees over here. We're going to chop some wood. If we can get down to like the lower levels here too, so that we can start expanding out this floor, I'd prefer it. It looks like Folk is kind of doing his thing down here. I found this super rad iron vein down here that I'm especially stoked about because it's giving us a huge supply of iron that we're going to be able to use to move up to the next tier of crafting, which I'm very excited for. This game uses a level up system, as you can see right here. Every single character will gain XP for every activity they do, whether it be combat or not, and the activities that they do in the interim period in between level 1 and level 2, for example, determine what stats will increase. So in RimWorld, if you do blacksmithing, you get better at blacksmithing incrementally, 1 point at a time. Not the case in this game. In this game, they have to do enough of that activity in between levels that it increases their threshold, and then when they level up, based on the amount that they did that activity, it will then increase when they hit that level period. So like right here with Clipper, he's leveled up. That's going to go off to the left. He's now level 8. He's gained some HP. He leveled up in nursing. He leveled up in cleaning, logging, and crafting, because those are things that Clipper was doing in between level 8 and level 7. So that's how progression works with these characters. One mechanic we are going to have to obey here that they've added on in is that dwarves in this game, they need to be drunk all the time. And so as you can see, I've got distillery barrels over here, and we're making pumpkin bourbon, and we've also been using corn in order to make, I think, corn shine. You know, my Uncle Bill's got a still on the hill for to squeeze off a gallon or two. We started doing moonshining because the dwarves need to be ripped out of their heads all day, every day. That's just one of their core mechanics. I'm not even kidding you. They have a little meter right here that says relaxation. Everybody else gets their relaxation filled up by like standing around and by doing like recreational activities. Not the case for dwarves. The only sport that dwarves care about is competitive drinking. If you're wondering what Lufa's doing over here, this game doesn't have traditional research like a lot of other colony survival games. Like, nobody has to go to a research bench and figure out how to make a chair. Instead, you can put the blueprint down for anything that you have the requisite skill to build. So the moment somebody hits like level 5 building, you'll see here in this menu, it's like, you've unlocked a bunch of new things. And then what'll happen is everybody in town that has that amount of building skill will come over and stare at the blueprint for like a half a day, and then they will acquire that blueprint and they will be able to build it forevermore should you desire to do so. I gave this to Clipper, right? All right, good. Clipper has his house. I'll probably put in like another house over here. I might wall this all off at some point too. Did we ever get down to like chopping the trees? We did. Good. So I can show you the building system now. I need to put together like a nicer house for somebody anyways. So we've got wood walls over here. I could also do like fine wood walls. I think the fine wood walls are not a bad idea. So let's maybe put like a little, I don't know, like a little 4x4 over here. Yeah, that seems perfectly fine to me. That seems to be functioning okay. We don't need to go too nutty and fancy with this, so we're just going to give them common wood floors right there, because everybody else only wants like 40 prestige inside their house, and they'll get that basically just from the walls, so it's no biggie, no harm, no foul on that side. Apparently the Alfhilders are now visiting. Everybody wants to visit my society. I don't know why. I've been very unfriendly on purpose, and yet they still keep visiting me. I don't know. I tried to lock the world out, but the world just refuses to leave me alone inside my dwarf hold doing dwarf guy stuff. Probably give them a stone door just to make the place look a little bit nicer. That's cool by me. Do they have like... Oh, you can do fine stone doors too. Interesting. Roofing in this game works. You guys know my rule with games like this. If the roofing works, the game is probably good to go. If not, it's probably a mess. This owner over here will more than likely be... Let's just move down the line and we'll give it to Lufa. So there we go. My people want to throw a feast. This tends to happen like once per quarter. I would recommend throwing the feast because it gives you an opportunity to change around everybody's opinions. So every character in this game has a particular feeling about just about everything, in all honesty. Let's take a look, and you've got compatibility down here. Everybody has an alignment. Everybody has an opinion about every object and everything that object can be made out of in the entire game. I think it's a little bit overly granular, in all honesty, and it can be kind of a pain to get everybody lockstep walking in the same direction, supporting one another because of it. However, it does make the game much more humorous watching somebody talk about the fact that they enjoy it when pants are sort of like made out of deer hide, or they really, really like it when a helmet is made out of the ass of an imp. This is the best part about the situation, is whenever you give a feast, you're going to have an opportunity to give a speech. So, like, I could recognize the accomplishments of Clipper, and that would raise his opinion of me a little bit because he's, like, a little bit cranky right now due to being cold. In fact, he insulted me after I went ahead and gave him that. But the more important thing is that you can sway people's opinions right here. So, basically, you can make people like each other more. You can make people hate each other more. It's really up to you. You can make people like certain foods better. You can make people dislike certain foods. You can make them like certain gear. It's up to you what you want to do there. I will inspire people, I suppose. I'll just finish the speech. There's nothing that I really want to inspire right now. Every inspiration you do is going to make some people happy and some people unhappy, and I don't feel like going through it all at the moment to figure out who's happy or who's sad with me. Got some frozen meat out there that will decay in 55 years due to being frozen. So, like, what's he upset about? Did we run out of wood or something? Somebody should definitely light that. That's why everybody's upset, is because they're cold. I specifically put these hearths inside every single room, and it says as needed, and for whatever reason, they will sit around half freezing to death, and they will not consider that as needed. And watch, his low meter will get better right here as he sits next to the fire. Like, it will quickly recover. The temperature system is a reasonably new addition to the game that came with the Dwarf patch, where you've got to actually have people covered as far as temperatures and things go. Otherwise, they get really, really cranky on you. The downside to that is that this is the first patch where temperature has been active, and so it can be really swingy and weird sometimes, and generally get in the way. It's definitely going to need some refinement. It's definitely going to need to get a little bit better. But it works perfectly okay, except for the fact that they don't seem to really prioritize, like, refueling things and making sure that, like, they stay warm. As you can see, that's all that it took. Clipper was just freezing, and he was just sleepy and cranky. Oh, nice. Our deer leather cuirass is done, and actually it's a pretty high-quality one. So gifting people things is a big part of this game. Apparently it's got 58 prestige for that cuirass right there. Wow. Yeah, go ahead and take that, because Clipper has like 500 prestige, and due to the fact that he's got way more prestige than we do, he's actually kind of being a little bit cranky about it. He's got a respect meter over here. There we go. Now he respects me a little bit more because the discrepancy between the king's prestige and his prestige isn't corrupting his mind. Still, our crafted items are beginning to come out of the workshop over here. And I think if we can get everybody clad in cool armor and looking pretty good, I think we'll be all right. What does the armor even look like? It must be underground. He's underground, isn't he? He is. Yeah, there it is right there. As you can see, he's so drunk that he shaved his beard in sideways. Dwarves are frequently inebriated. We've got a lot of stone coming in too, so we're going to need to get a big glut of building done as soon as she learns all these blueprints over here. I'll probably build a big castle over here that's specifically for the king so that nobody ever has better prestige than him ever again, because you want the prestige of the king to be higher than everybody else's. I got a little carried away. Clipper said that he wanted a nice house, so like I being the go-getter that I am, I built him a really nice house because I'm a king that cares. But maybe I should have cared a little bit less. I haven't seen any bugs in this game. I haven't had any issues with the AI getting stuck or doing anything stupid. There was that one bug that we had with manufacturing, but the developers fixed it in under 10 minutes after I posted it. So, like, everything has been working more or less fine. I've been very happy with my time with the game. Other changes that happened during the current Dwarf patch, they actually made it so your guys passively talk to each other and stuff about things now. So in older versions of the game, you had to manually force your characters to talk to one another in order to build up relationships. They just do it automatically now, and I can't tell you how much that's smoothed out the game. It's a very smart decision that they chose to do that. It was a little bit gritty getting all the characters to talk to each other nonstop in order to be friends in previous versions, so I'm glad to see the change. So Clipper wasn't using his room, and I couldn't figure out why. It's because there's no smokestack on the chimney. In this game, the chimneys are modular. There we go, by comparison to the actual hearths themselves. I forgot to build a chimney. I was staring at it being like, how come he is not the awful tamers are incoming? Sound the horns. Now he should go sleep inside of there. Have they arrived yet? I don't care about you. Hurtful. It's the first thing you say when you walk into town, Jed? You monosyllabic animal. I've been hiding my time for when I could take you down. Get him. Strongest. Jed is carrying a grappling hook. They can use it to bypass our defenses. Let's get... Well, I mean, I would have to have defenses first before that would be a major thing. Go ahead and fight Jed over here and hopefully don't die. I hope you're better at fighting than he is. Yeah, we seem to be quite a bit better at fighting than he is. However, a few more people coming over here to maybe assist and give like some backup wouldn't be underappreciated. Your king is actually being assaulted right now. This game is comically gory. There are enormous amounts of blood that come out of these little characters while they're like fighting and dying and whatnot. You can build walls and things around your base. The game does have a mantling system. You can build... Oh, he's still alive. Look at you, Jed. What do we know about you? He's got a sprained knee, a shoulder bruise. He's in pretty good pain right now. Suppose I could capture him. Or we could just drink his blood. There we go. Drink his blood it is. Go ahead and loot him when you get a second. Your characters will be covered in blood for like a short amount of time after murdering a guy. Oh, I'm about to build more graves too. Killed so many human beings. I mean, the easiest way to handle this is just to butcher him. But I haven't fallen to that level of depravity yet. Alright, if you want to see that kind of content, you're going to have to go hang out with Avik. Avik is the kind of guy where this guy would already be spit roasted and being eaten for dinner by like tomorrow morning. But in my case, I tend to space out the cannibalism a little bit, like only when absolutely necessary, you know. Different strokes for different folks. These walls are customizable over here, by the way. Everything in the game actually is. So if you click on this right here, you can change whether this is like a wall, for example. So it can be like a fine wall left. It can be like a fine wall right so that it matches up with everything else. You can change it into a window. But not only that, every single object in the game, you can recolor it using a color palette too. So this game is going to offer you a tremendous amount of customizability when it comes to just what do you want to do with the property that you live inside of. You know, it's your call. Everything kind of comes out looking the way that it does. But I have found that it's been very cool being able to customize things. Let's work on the king's house, I guess. I don't know if I should get everybody else housed first, or if I should get the king first. I should get everybody else first. It looks like they're all missing a considerable chunk of a meter for their lodging, which is one of the things that they check to see if they should be happy or not with the king. Let's go ahead and put in a hearth in here, too. I forgot to build the hearth. Nice little lighting effect coming out of the front of it, though. There are also a large amount of decorative objects in this game, so you can actually make carpets, you can put little books, and you can put little, like, bottles and things on tables and shelves. This is one of those games that if you're into playing stuff like The Sims and you really like decorating and, like, making your town look nice and natural and fun to live inside of, this is absolutely a game that gives you the tools in order to do that, from being able to fully recolor everything, to customize everything. It's just got a lot of things going for it. Like, I actually kind of feel like this is sort of an underrated colony survival game. Like, it's such a popping industry right now, making colony survival games. But this one right here, I feel like has a lot of merits. I think the biggest thing they could do to streamline it is to get rid of like half of the opinions in the game. So I think characters should have opinions about things like fighting with swords. You know, some characters are going to have preferences where, like, I like using swords. I don't. I like wearing helmets. I don't. Like, that's perfectly fine. But I think when they get to the level of, like, I don't like wearing helmets, but I especially don't like wearing helmets that are made out of imp leather, but I slightly better like wearing helmets that are made out of orc leather, but I still don't like either. Like, it gets a little too granular, I guess. I think they could ease up on that. I would almost get rid of the entire materials thing, except these characters have alignments like good, evil, and neutral. I would actually make it so certain materials are assigned sort of a moral value. So wearing, like, anything made out of a sentient person, like orc, or like human, or like dwarf, would generally be considered an item that, like, evil people would like. You know what I mean? Whereas wearing something that's made out of, like, deer leather, or like pig leather, or whatever else, would be considered, you know, neutral to good, and people would be totally fine with it. That way you could get rid of that level of granularity where you're, like, trying to convince people to like certain types of leather, or certain types of berries. But at the same time, you still keep the preferences live inside of the game. So that's one of my things. I think the game is a little bit too granular when it comes to the preferences of each of the people that live inside of here. Another thing is, I find that the game it uses the same soundtrack over and over and over again. The game could use, is that a wolf inside my house? Oh, it belongs to one of the visitors. Man, that scared me. I was like, why is there a wolf inside of my house? Rake likes that deer leather cuirass right there. I don't know why he specifically likes that one, but not that one. I think I needed the grappling hook so that I could give it to Lufa. Oh, Lufa didn't want a grappling hook. She wants a pair of gloves. This is another issue I have with the game, is if you look inside Lufa's compatibilities, it'll say that she hates gloves, but she's requested gloves like 5 times in a row. Sometimes the requests they give you, that's where the granularity starts to fall apart a little bit, I guess. It's like, why does a person that hates gloves keeps demanding... this is, seriously, I've given her a bunch of pairs of gloves. Like, she just keeps getting... She's like the glove collector. I don't know, maybe she's requesting them so she can burn them because she hates them. I have no clue. But it is one of those weird things, like an idiosyncrasy that exists in the system that I've noticed where, like, Clipper wanted a bow, but, like, Clipper hates ranged weapons. You know, like little weird things like that I think need to be brought into alignment with expectation, I guess. But other than that, it could use a few more soundtrack songs. It could afford to be a little bit less granular. And I think sometimes the granularity of preferences does weird things, like someone that hates bows requests a bow for prestige. But other than those little issues, I have been really, really happy with my recent visit to Noble Fates. I think that this game is actually coming together in a way that a lot of other colony survival games are not. Like, there's a clarity of vision here, I guess, with what they want it to be and what they're doing with it that I would say is working out pretty well for the game right now. This is one of those games that when it first released, it was kind of up in the air whether or not it was going to become something good or not. But I think we can say fairly safely, after the size of this most recent patch and the amount of mechanics and the amount of things that it added to the game, that the developers are schmoovin'. They're schmoovin' with new fun things. Oh, he wants gloves too? All right, we'll take some gloves too, man. Enjoy. Wear them on your hands. Everybody has possessions as well. They won't necessarily use all of them, but they have possessions, and so they'll keep them inside their house. You gift them things in order to keep them happy. Oh, good. We can actually bury that guy now, too, because we've got extra graves lined up on the side. Because what could make your hotel get a better Yelp rating than having a giant graveyard in the front yard? But I've been very happy with this game, to reiterate what I'm saying. They've made some good changes with this title. It's gone from being kind of a mediocre colony survival game, like 8 or 9 months ago, to now being like a colony survival game that's really coming together with the last couple patches that allow you to go on quests and travel around the realm. Now they've got Z levels, and there's like underground biomes that they've added. There's underground enemies that they've added that only burst forth from the earth once you've dug too far down and too greedily. I mean, the game is fleshing out, so if you already own it, now might be the time to check back in on it, because I had a really good time with it. I will see you all later. Thank you for stopping on in. My name is Splattercat, and I sift through the pile to find what is worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day, so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were fooling around with a title called Noble Fates. Tomorrow, we'll be fooling around with a different game. Thank you for spending your time here with me. I know there's a lot of YouTube channels out there, so I appreciate anybody that decides to stop on by and listen to my rambling thoughts. I'll be back tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. Bye, folks.